How do I feel right now? Right now, I feel sad, and upset, and almost impatient, like tired of waiting on Katie, because I know she's gonna contact me and want communication with me again, but it's just like, I don't know, I'm just like, I really want to talk to her, ask how she's doing, ask her if she's okay. And I want to actually get to know the real her. I told her that I wanted to get to know her if she let me, because she told me that I don't know her. And I never really got to actually get to know her. And I want to. And just want to see her and talk to her again. And tell her how I've been, and tell her what I've done, and tell her what I've been through, and tell her all the new knowledge I've collected. And tell her that I have feelings for her, that I love her. And I just love to see her again, but it's just that waiting. And is it today? Is it gonna be tomorrow? And I don't think I could talk to any other woman like I talked to her. And I know I can still have female friends. I do believe, and I feel to be true and know to be true, that men and women can be friends. And so, and I do have a acquaintance with an old female coworker I used to work with, and we were kind of friends, but she said we want us to keep that acquaintanceship, which is fine. But I'm talking to her, and I need to try to make more female friends and open myself up. But in terms of a romantic soulmate relationship with a woman, she's the only one. And I feel like I'm missing out. I miss her. And I just want to talk to her. And whenever she's ready to talk to me, I just have to wait. Because they say if you love someone, you let them go. And if it's meant to be, and they truly love you, then they'll come back. So I just have to wait and be patient and trust in God and wait on Him. That's how I feel right now. Just kind of tired of waiting, and I miss her, and I feel sad not being able to talk to her. And I feel like we're missing out on a lot of conversations, but I know that as soon as I see her, we'll be able to have those conversations. But it's just like, it's just a lot of unhad conversations that need to be had if she wants to. And yeah, that's just how I feel right now. And it's something else that I want to talk about that I've been, discovering and understanding is, the difference between men and women, and the relationship between men and women. And I view, and I believe to be true, and I feel to be true, and know to be true, that I feel like men are more curious than women, and men feel more curious, but they tend to be more curious about physical things like, mechanics of a car or a computer. Asking like, what if, or how do I solve this, or how do I fix this? I feel like that's tend to be what men specialize in. But women, I feel like, are more vulnerable and are more emotional, and they're more sensitive, and they feel more, they have more feelings. And I feel like they're better at asking, and they still feel, curiosity is a feeling, and they still feel curious. But I feel like they feel more curious about feelings, like, how do you feel? How do you feel today? How did your day go? and they want the details of the day. And how was your morning? How was your afternoon? How was your evening? How was your night? And how was your sleep? How was breakfast? Those type of questions. And how do you feel about this? And I feel like men don't typically ask those type of questions. I mean, they can, and some do, but like I said, I feel like men tend to aim more of being curious about physical things and how do I fix this? How do I solve this? And trying to solve problems, and just being curious about cars and computers and video games. And men could, women could play video games too. Women could be in the cars too. But it seems to me to be more common with men, for them to be curious more about those things than curious about feelings and questioning feelings, and having their logic meet their emotion, which I am trying to get better at as a man, because questioning our feelings is important, and getting back in touch with our feelings is important, and I'm trying my best to. And I will say this: I feel more emotions with Jesus than I have with any other woman, and Jesus has let me feel and helped me feel more emotions than any woman could ever get me to feel. Yeah, I feel like men aren't as much in touch with their feelings and don't question their feelings as much as women. And they don't really, they might see it as touchy or soft, or some men don't like talking about their feelings because they might see it as icky or yuck or gross or weird, or they're just uncomfortable with talking about their feelings and feeling too much. And they might see it as feminine, and they're almost disgusted by feeling too much and talking about their feelings. I feel like if you were to ask a man if he wanted to talk about his feelings, his response would be like, ew, it's gross. Why would I want to talk about my feelings? They don't like talking about feelings too much. And they might see, be openly vulnerable as a weakness. And they might see kindness as a weakness. And they might be seeing, if you're someone who talks about their feelings and open about your feelings, they might see that as weak or soft. But actually, it takes courage to be openly vulnerable. And this is what I mean about, how men can be logical about physical things. It might be hard for some men to see strength outside of physical strength, and see vulnerability as a strength and not a weakness, because being openly vulnerable takes courage. So vulnerability is a strength. And I admit, I've been through the show no emotion so nobody knows I'm hurting and show poker face phase. And I admit that there is some uncomfortable feelings that is hard for me to face. But part of strength is being strong enough to face them. I have to feel more curious about how to build a strong heart. And there's a song that I want to recommend, which is called Heart is a Muscle. And I feel like it goes great with what I'm saying, and I'll put it in the comment section below. But yeah, how do I build a strong heart? A strong foundation in my heart. Putting Jesus first in my life and following him and living like him. It's the first thing to do when trying to build a strong heart. It's to give him your whole heart. So yeah, I don't think men like talking about their feelings like women do. And it might be harder for men to talk about their feelings. And so my recommendation as a man to the fellow men watching this video is to be more open and be more vulnerable and openly vulnerable about your feelings and how you truly feel, and being fully honest about how you truly feel with yourself and with Jesus and with the people around you, which I admit I gotta do more myself, and I'm trying my best. And so this is advice I'm giving to myself, but you guys as well. And I feel like some men might see, showing no emotion so that nobody knows they're hurting, showing poker face might be coming off as hard or tough or stoic or masculine. So it might, get women to be more attracted to them. But no, women don't like men who are out of touch with their feelings. Okay? Most women don't. And so part of strength is being strong enough to face our hard feelings, our true feelings. Facing the hard truth. And so strength is more than just physical strength. So I think more men need to try to be more courageous, being openly vulnerable, and being fully honest about how they truly feel. Because vulnerability is a strength, because it takes courage to be openly vulnerable. And if we want to try to build a strong heart, and to be stronger, and to build our strength, and to build a strong character, and to build more strength in our being courageous to be openly vulnerable is something we have to work on as men. And I have to work on it too. And there's some women that have to work on it that might be out of touch with their feelings, which is, I don't think is common with women like it is with men, but even for some women. So my advice to you guys is try to get back in touch with your feelings and how your heart feels, and getting back in touch with your gut feeling and how your gut feels. So eating more for your stomach than for your tongue. And eating mushrooms, which mushrooms is great for getting back in touch with our gut feeling and intuition. And so having a strong gut feeling, having a strong heart, being courageous enough to be openly vulnerable is all part of strength, more than just physical strength. Physical strength is only a single part of strength, and it's not fully defined strength. When I talk about how some words in psychology have a fourth dimension definition, which is a definition from multiple angles, what is strength? That's an example of that. And so a way to understand this differently and more is, some food for thought. They originally designed the jungle gym and the playground for kids, to help kids understand the fourth dimension. It is designed after a test ran to help kids understand the fourth dimension through play. And so strength, what is strength, is a psychology word and a spiritual word that has multiple definitions from multiple angles, with multiple definitions. So it is a word with a fourth dimensional definition. And so having a strong mind as well, discipline, tough love, and willpower, part of strength, which I have to work on, myself, being more mentally disciplined. I admit that. And, not being as lazy and not giving into the self as much. I have to get better at doing that, and I will get better, and I will do my best, and I will try my best. And so, even building a strong body and exercising, not to belittle that or, to say that it's not important, exercising and, doing cardio and building a strong muscle. I think that's important too, because I think if you try to build a strong body, it can help you have a strong mind. So I think all of these things are part of strength and ways to get stronger and to build strength. So that's my view on strength and what is strength. Having a strong gut feeling, a strong intuition, having a strong heart, having a strong voice. That's another thing. So practicing our voice, singing on top of our lungs to music, speaking up about our opinions. If we have something to ask it. Don't be cowardly. Don't chicken out. If you have something to say, if you have something important to say, speak up and be courageous with your voice. Don't cower out and don't chicken out. Talk about what you believe in. Stand up for what you believe in. Defend what you believe in. And talk about what you feel to be true. And defend what you feel to be true and what you know to be true. Let your voice be heard. And practice with your voice, like speaking to a camera. or getting better at talking to strangers, or getting better at talking to beautiful women. So those are all ways to build a strong voice. And asking Jesus to help us get stronger, and asking Him for strength, and asking Him to help us become a better speaker, which He's helped me a lot with becoming a better speaker. Because I personally struggled with speech problems since I was a kid, and I had speech therapy for years. And so I've been having speech problems since I was a child, and He has helped me a lot with my speaking. And so I have Him today. And so that is all part of strength and getting stronger and being strong, and how to be more stronger and how to build strength. And also having strong relationships with our friends, with our families, with our roommates, with our neighbors, with our coworkers. Friendly vibes, happy vibes, getting along, being kind, being loving, being patient, being gentle, being slow to anger, and being a listening ear. And to have forgiveness, and to forgive each other, and forgive everyone who's hurt you, and to not hold grudges, and to not hold resentment, and to let it go and forgive. And a quote I like to think of is from Nightcrawler Kurt, who is a mutant X-Men, but he has the appearance of a demon, but he is a Christian and he follows God. And he said this to Gambit the Magician. He said, "There is no love without sin, for love is best measured in what we forgive." So, have forgiveness and forgive everyone. Also, showing respect in relationships is very important. They say show respect to get respect, and the golden rule, treat others how you want to be treated. So, respect yourself and respect everyone around you. These are all ways that we can build strong relationships. And communication. Because they say communication is the most important part of a relationship. And being fully honest about how we truly feel with the people that we love. Which I feel to be very important for having a strong relationship. And so having strong relationships is important too. Which I admit personally, I have to do better with my relationships. And show more love to the people I love in my life. And so I will do that and try my best to do that. And be more loving to them. Because I feel with all my being to be true, it is very important to show as much love as we can to the people we love in our life. To everyone around us. And that's what Jesus wants us to do, is to be love and love everyone. And, love thy neighbor. And to love everyone around us as much as possible. That's the question I'll leave you guys. How do I build a strong heart? I'm feeling curious about that question.